6 o'clock, so let's call this meeting order.
Roger,
Yes.
Tiffany,
Yes.
Lisa, Jennifer,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
and Jason.
Yes.
All 7 are present.
First item on the agenda this evening is to adopt the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Motion by Tiffany Dickens, seconded by Lisa Elrod to approve and adopt the agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? 7 yes.
Next item is board norms, and for September, I'd like to remind the board that we will expect board members to make a commitment. And number 2, we will work together as a board that values consensus rather than a majority vote. With that all being said, if I could ask everybody to stand and follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda is board recognition. Okay, I didn't know of any, but next item on the agenda is citizens' participation, in which we have allowed 30 minutes to residents of the school district and staff to give the board an opportunity to listen to citizens. Remarks will be limited to 3 minutes and 1 appearance, thus allowing for a maximum number of participants in the allotted time when the citizen will speak to issues. Questions directed at the board may not always be answered immediately. Do we have any citizens' participation this evening?
That's where you,
Yeah.
we'd like for you to stand over here if you don't mind.
Introduce yourself, please.
Where do I have to stand?
Just at the podium, please. Thanks.
My name is Paula Weberg. I've not been to a school board meeting, I'll admit. I have been in the district. I have a daughter that's been here her whole life, another that was a teacher here. My concern is, and I'm not an educator, I'm not here saying, I'm just getting my side or what is being said from my daughter. There is a lot, and I guess I've talked to a couple people, but I'm very concerned about the vaping issue at school. That's my issue. I just don't understand, I guess it's above that there are how these kids are getting these when they're not supposed to have them. It's illegal for them to even have them. And my child, I know, I'm not saying my child's perfect. I know that right off, I'll tell you that. No kid is perfect. But she's offered vapes 2 to 3 times a day. That is sad. And I'm not judging anybody. I'm not in the school every day. I'm just concerned. It makes me sad, sickened. I don't know, but how can these kids have all these? She knows the kids that sell them. She knows the kids that have them. They'll do it during class. They hide them during class. They're in the bathroom. She went on a school trip the other day. They were vaping. I mean, I don't, what can we do? I mean, I'm willing to help, whatever, or I'm just very concerned about this situation. So I mean, I don't know what we can do, but it's very concerning.
I would agree with you, and I think we can continue to work on policies and procedures within the district. And
I know one thing, she says kids they get reprimanded and get a few days of ISS, and then they're right back like it was a joke and right back at it. I mean, I know that it's hard to do things, and if my kid gets caught doing it, I want her to be punished. I hope I can say that I don't think she is, but how much more pressure before she does? I mean, I'd like to think that we've got strong values that I don't want her to do it, but how long before peer pressure sets in or whatever? I'm just saying, maybe, I mean, she says that it's almost, they'll just come back like it's almost laughable. Got a few days in school suspension, well, I'm right back doing it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not judging anybody, don't get me wrong, because I'm not there, and I know it's a hard job. My daughter taught up here, and It's not easy, that's not what I'm saying. And I know there's so many variables, this is really bothering me. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is there any other citizens' participation? Then we will move on to number 7, consent agenda items. In everybody's board packet are those consent agenda items. Does anybody have any questions, any concerns, or do we have a motion to approve those items?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Jennifer Moreland, seconded by Roger Bridgman to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? 7 yes.
The next item is also in your packet, is the financial statements and action on the bills. Does anybody have any questions or concerns about any of the items in the financial statements? Or do we have a motion to pay the bills this month?
Sean, motion.
Motion by Sean Siebert, seconded by Tiffany Dickens to approve the financial statement and action on the bills as presented. All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? 7 yes.
The next item is administrative reports, board and committee reports. Since I have the floor, I'll just tell you, I met with the auditors yesterday, and they're doing a great job. They'll be back to visit with us in a couple of, I don't know, I think a couple of months. They'll have the final audit results, but it was good. It was cool. Are there any other board or committee reports? Sherry, do you have anything?
Not much. Of course, the Missouri Senate is discussing tax cuts for Missourians. We don't know what they're gonna do and how that'll affect us yet, but it's a possibility. I know at one time we have participated in the Imagination Library. Well, that is coming back kind of in full force again. It's set to roll out next summer, and the state is wanting state and schools to share costs if schools wish to participate in this program. It was a great program. I'm hoping that we can look at it and maybe participate, but I think you'll be getting more information on that. October 6th and 7th, I'll be at the MSBA Board of Directors meetings in Columbia. They put me on the ad hoc committee this year, which I've never been on. It reviews the structures of how, let's see if I wrote this down right. This is a new one for me. Oh, I'm just looking, my writing's not very good.
Okay.
But they look
Just help
at
us, my helper.
setting up dues and how MSB is structured, how we are funded. So if anybody has any ideas, let me know. And then again, like I said, I've never been on this committee, so I have no idea exactly what we will be doing. The other one is our yearly refresher courses. Has everybody participated in that? Roger, have you?
In the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you done this last year?
Not this one now.
Not this year, but you all did last year.
Yeah.
Did you guys receive a?
I made Angela send us an email on that.
Just today, because Sherry and I spoke
Yeah,
about
because this popped up today. But have you received anything? Had you received anything from
No.
MSBA on it?
No.
So Angela, I'm gonna say probably you'll need to call them tomorrow, make sure they have our emails and the school. So, yeah.
No, I think
Just
the last
something-
time we only did it because you told us then too.
They have a new service.
Yes, and it
They've been
doesn't,
dealing with since the spring, and it's still not.
it
set
doesn't
up
cooperate with
properly.
the old service.
That's why I sent you the link, just in case.
March 21?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
that's fine.
All right, thanks. And then, of course, the annual conference is again in Kansas City, November 3rd, 4th, and 5th. That's all I got.
Thank you. Thanks.
So it looks like we should just, when that came around last time, I got an email straight from Debbie Durnmeyer,
Mm-hmm.
and that came to all board members
Yeah.
and with the
anything you want to add?
Just a little shout out, we had our block party, staff participation was high like usual, but Melanie Weber, our social worker, takes point on that every single year. Dr. Williams and I brought it up at our MESIP meeting, and that kind of community participation and size of event is not average at all. So just a big thanks to not only our staff for coming out to that, but Melanie makes it look easy, and it is not an easy thing to do. So props to her on continuing a great tradition for us. We had a total, including staff and community members, of 613, which was our largest one. You know, in a school population of 451, that's a huge number of people to bring out on a Thursday night. So thanks to our crew, and especially to Melanie for her work on that.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions about anything in the elementary report? Or can we move into the middle school? Do you have anything you want to add?
We had picture day today, and that went well. And we also had a visit from the Officer Weber brought the drug dog to the school today, and we did that. And then they went over to the high school after they were finished in our building. I'm gonna try to get that scheduled on kind of a regular basis.
Cool. Does anybody have any questions about anything that's in the middle school report? Well, let's move into the high school. Any additions?
Sure. I'll piggyback on that. The K-9 visited today, and it was procedurally went really well. The building handled it really well. To piggyback on that, we had our first round of drug testing on Monday, and again, procedurally went really well. Outcomes were really well, and we paired that with assemblies for homecoming all week, just to throw all the chaos into one week and get it over with. So things are still running smoothly, and kids are excited. We've had 2 really great assemblies, and then we have an action-packed afternoon for Friday, so to lead into our homecoming festivities for that night. So we've got a lot of good things going on in the building.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Keep it up. Does anybody have any questions about anything in the high school document? Then we will move into the special education director report. Do you have anything in addition that you'd like to add at this point?
Everything's going great.
Are there any questions about any of the information in that report? We're just going to keep moving along. Next item is student representative report. Being homecoming week, what do you have to report on today?
So the FFA rituals team, at their last competition, they placed 3rd, and then this past weekend the band and drill team traveled to Sullivan. The band was 3rd in their division by 0.3 of a point, and the drill team placed 1st out of all the schools that attended. Homecoming's Friday, we're playing St. James. We have a live DJ for the dance this year, and we've seen a really good outcome of people participating in spirit days and the assemblies this year. We're doing a homecoming parade during the day on Friday. The softball and volleyball teams both had their home tournaments on Saturday. The volleyball team beat Herculaneum, and the softball team won their last game. And last Thursday at the Silville cross country meet, the high school cross country girls placed 2nd.
Nice. Cool.
Will that parade go like through the bus loop, I guess, kind of how it
Yes.
did last year?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what time, do you know?
1:30. Do we have all buildings coming out to participate?
We will.
Thank you.
Awesome. And there's gonna be some candy from.
Oh.
That was an elementary student request last year that we graduated this year.
Come up with candy.
Send them home. And there's parade etiquette, so it's
So we get the high school credit, they're funding that for the elementary.
Nice.
Give those students. Good job.
Need to have some sugars.
Send them home.
Some back to Mr. Cross.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Sugar them up, send them
I may
home.
have
It's all
some.
good.
I understand.
He would be fighting for the candy.
He with the most sugar wins. Thank you. Did anybody have any questions about anything else in the
Thank you.
report?
Good job.
Then we will move right into the assistant superintendent report.
Sure. I just have one revision and then something to add. Our free and reduced lunch forms, in my report I said we had received 331, but since then we've gotten more, so we're up to 345 applications received for free and reduced lunch. I had Ms. Smith run the report this afternoon for the number of students that are above that 45 balance, and Transportation Department, our drivers completed their annual training yesterday with Tomo, so we're in compliance there. There are a couple of drivers who couldn't attend, but we were able to record the session, so they'll watch that.
Question on that, on the lunch thing, are we doing the, like, sharing carts to get in the buildings? Are they doing that again or not for those kiddos?
Like a sharing table?
Yeah, well, we call them sharing carts in Rolla, but where they have kids that don't drink their milks or use those sealed up things, are they doing that for those
We
kiddos?
do in my building.
Okay.
We do not currently, but okay, do for sure.
I was just asking, because I know even in our building at the high school in Rolla, it gets utilized a lot. So it's only things that are sealed. So like if a kid goes through and don't want their fruit cup or they don't want their milk, they have what's called a sharing cart. And then you have some kiddos that, of course, need it more than others.
For sure.
And they can go get whatever they need or one off of that cart. And it really does help a lot of those kids that don't get the food. So I was wondering if we was doing that here, because it's going over greatly in our district.
So in elementary, do the kids just toss all of that? Like if they don't open something?
So we pretty much highly encourage that they always open up their milk and try to eat their fruit cups because we're walking around on it. I'm sure we missed some along the way. I know that we had in previous years, at least pre-COVID times, had done that up. Something I'd not even had on my personal radar this year, but I'll talk with the superintendents on that. And that's something, obviously I'm not anti sharing that into throwing things away, so I'll check in with things. And
I was just thinking, looking at our numbers with our free reduced lunches going up, that's a sure sign that that's a need. And so just throwing out ideas. I mean, especially for the bigger ones, because sometimes they don't get enough anyway to eat. And so it just helps.
Absolutely. To kind of piggyback on lunch, do we have anything in place currently for community members or businesses to call in and donate to overdue lunch accounts?
So that's actually something that I talked to Dr. Davidson about, that I'm working on. We've talked to a couple other area school districts that they have an account set up where community members and businesses can donate. So we are in the process of
Awesome.
doing that. We just need to make sure that when we communicate that everyone understands that it's 100% confidential, and that they can't, specify a student unless it's their own student kind of thing.
Yeah. Awesome. Good thinking.
Next item is superintendent's report. Dr. Davidson.
So I do not have anything to add at this time. There's several things going on. Most of those are agenda items, so I'll speak to those as we go further. But if anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Without me hearing anything.
I'll just say, big kudos to our admin team. So they worked hard this year to get everything going and going well. So I think our admin team's done a nice job meeting the needs of our students and catching things and transition and having good outcomes with that. So I'll give a shout out to our admin team. All three buildings are doing really well.
Awesome. The one question I saw in there, you was talking about your Compass Health. Do we have one in every building now, or we just have one for the district?
Just one for the district.
Okay. Okay.
And that's 2 days a week.
Okay.
Right now, they're looking for a full-time person for that.
Yeah.
But right now we have a part-time person 2 days a week.
Okay. Okay. Because I was talking to them the other day about getting some more down here. So.
Yeah.
I'm pulling for us.
Yeah.
If there's no other questions, we will move right into unfinished business. Talk to me about the 2022-2023 budget.
Yep, so our budget's staying the course. We're right there at 37% reserves at the end of August. And those go down a little bit as we spend, and then we'll get a payout in October quarterly. We had our audit the last 2 days. Actually got a lot of compliments from our auditors from last year to this year, looking at just the detail of the cleanup work that was done. Everything was in compliance last year as well, but this year they just really liked how everything was itemized out, broken out. But money into the accounts in advance that were gonna be spent out and minimize the transitions and different stuff like that. So got quite a bit of compliments from our auditors. In general, I said, is it all right to say everything went well? And they said, that's fine. And I can share that, and I'll give a detailed report soonest in November, probably more likely December though. They said it is a 55-page report that they have typed up and put together. So all went well there. To what Mrs. Schutte said regarding the, again, kind of the potential tax deductions. Again, not that they're bad for us personally, but from a school district perspective, and we were at a meeting yesterday, and so a legislator who's a lobbyist for public schools said that they're taking it a step further, and it's actually going to be, instead of under $1 billion, it's going to be over roughly $1 billion. So there's actually additional few more million that could come out of that if that goes through. So just kind of preferencing, you know, we get 2/3 of our revenue from the state formula, 1/3 is local, so that potentially could impact all districts. So when you look at transportation, teacher minimum salary grant, career ladder, those are normally the first to go. Any additional things they added, those are the first things that come off. So state is still saying those will be funded. Basic Econ 101.
How does that happen?
Something's going to get in there. So just putting that out there as just keep in mind, again, we're in a good financial place, but just we need to be strategic on what we do to stay there. We have some good funds available for capital, but once those are gone, and then we're not sure what the next 2, 3, 4 years.
Thank you. Next item is we'll move right into new business. In our board packets is several policy updates, of which most of them are mandatory, but I don't think we necessarily talk about them very much tonight, but make sure you review them, and they will hit our board packet again next month, and we will probably accept those new board policies next month. Next item is we did receive a letter from 3 high school students. It is in your board packet. The long and short of the letter says, hey, we want to be able to use cell phones in the high school during lunch break, is what the letter kind of says. And I'm looking for board direction on how we should move forward with this letter. I've talked briefly with Dr. Davidson about the letter, and I think I am in favor of, number one, we need to get back to the students with a response from the board. Number two, the policy's been enforced for
Shy of 1 month.
yeah, 1 month. So I don't know if we should really be looking to necessarily change the policy being so young. But I do think we owe it to the board, we owe it to the students to get back in touch. So you guys have read those letters. What's your thoughts? What's your, Sherry?
I would like to see you get back with the students on that, and I would like for the reasonings for each of these to be explained as to why we're doing it, because I think they have missed, I think they're missing what we're trying to do with this policy. So, yeah, I think if they can be explained, they may not like it, but.
Right. And I think even leaving the door open for, we need to review that policy at some point, after we have a reasonable amount of data to consider. So if I put that on Dr. Davidson's shoulders, you may want to pass that ball to the high school principal or handle it.
Yeah, I definitely want to get back to those students. Just giving some time. Like I said, the letter was addressed to the board, so that's why it came to the board, and with the dealing with policy regarding that. So just pass that on, but we'll definitely get back. I'll get with Ms. Nolting, and we may just have the students come in and sit down. I'll be glad to meet with them to explain the intent behind that policy and where we're at. actually other students appreciate that that policy's in place. I see one nodding their head, not to put them on the spot, but.
People actually talk.
What's that?
I said people actually talk to you.
Talk to one another. Yeah, so there's positives there.
I've heard of some people actually picking up habits like reading a book, stuff like that during lunchtime or downtime, which.
Yeah. But no,
And not starting to
proud
fight.
and appreciate
Like-
that they respectfully put that letter together.
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
absolutely, that's.
Yeah,
Next item is, we're not really looking for a motion, but the concept of a four-day school week for Crawford County R2 has come up. I know that parents have brought it up, staff members have brought it up, and I think we need to give Dr. Davidson some guidance and some direction. Do we want to consider those options? Do we want to gather more information about what that would look like, what that would entail, and how much support do we have from the community in amongst us?
I think gathering the information is important for the simple fact of, just like we talked earlier, you have budget cuts coming down. If that happens, are we, we want to stay a very alive district, and there may have to be some, and you don't want to. I'm one of those that I don't really want to cut anybody's job. You know what I mean? So if it's something that we can do that's going to keep the great people that we have and still be able to do that, whether that is, it's becoming huge. I know my Jocelyn's rep told me yesterday that 28 of his schools that he has already went to a 4-day school. So it's been very different this year trying to schedule meetings and stuff with them just for seniors. So there's, it's going to be. It's not going away. It's getting really, really popular and very hot topic for education for sure. But I think, having, like you said, those things in place to where we know, is it going to be supported? Is it is it going to save us money? Is it going to, you know what I mean? Those types of things, I think are important to be able to address or give that information to, individuals.
And I could say, I put this on here just for, not discussion of pros and cons, but just to let you know, I was an elementary principal in a district that had a 4-day week. It was a very positive experience, so I'm not opposed to looking into this. And if that's the data we get back goes that direction, I don't have any reservations with pursuing it. So this really kind of isn't for pros, cons, should we, shouldn't we? It's just to kind of have a consensus from the board to say yes.
I was looking at the stats and just from what I could pull up, because you get all kinds of things, but so 25% of Missouri school districts are 4-day, and it's like in 2020 there were like 60 school districts, and now it's 141 school districts. So
it's growing.
And I think one website said that only one has returned to a 5-day school day. So there's some weight there, I think. But I think that a big part of the just research should probably be on looking at the ones that are successful and why they're successful in structure, and comparing apples to apples, because we are definitely not like some.
And again, it's to make sure it's viable for our district. So we're not going to do it because others are doing it. We're going to do it because it benefits us in multiple ways.
Well, ultimately, I would say the biggest thing that everybody in this room has to remember, though, is if the research shows that it is maybe the right choice for us, we 100% have to put what's best for kids first. I would say, and believe me, teachers, don't kill me here for saying this, but I would guess probably at least 95% of your staff is for it. And I 100% want to support that, but we have to do what's best for kids. I mean, there are a lot of kids that this is absolutely their safe space, and whenever you take them out of here for one extra day, as unfortunate as it is, you don't know the environment that they're going home to. I wish that you could probably put a number, or that you could put a number on abuse cases that rose whenever COVID hit and our kids couldn't come to school because this is their safe place. And so, whatever we choose, it has to be putting kids first because that's what we're here for. You know.
So gather away.
Part of the research could include, to bring up an excellent point, is I know that other districts have been mindful of that.
Yes, absolutely.
And there may be other agencies in the community that open their doors on those days, because that's a pretty common thing that you see in a lot of other communities. And so that may be part of what we explore is who
Carries that
yes,
load,
who,
basically.
if there's, a trains, if there's a shift in the community, I think there'd probably be some very willing partners, because some agencies that may have a mission that doesn't necessarily 100% align with public education, but have a passion for kids. They may develop programs, and I can see that happening.
Yeah, I know we have at least one in our community. I'm sure there's more than one that would fit that.
Yeah, I know 2 or 3 that I think and I'm not saying do it, don't do it, but I think as part of, looking
It has
into.
to be a talking point.
Oh, absolutely.
You know.
But I know a couple of different service organizations that I think would embrace the opportunity to work with youth. So just that may be something we look at, and because you're absolutely right, there's what are we doing to make sure that everybody's well-being is.
So with gathering this information, my goal was to have enough information for you in October to have some really then good discussion points, pros, cons, what we need. And the board can go from there with those data points. That'd give us November, if needed, December, wherever we're at in the process. It gives us some time soon enough to make a good decision in a timely manner.
I look at this being months worth of discussions, not like a decision could be made by November. I don't think that's even obtainable in my own mind. I mean, I think that by the time you're researching with your parents, and I mean, if this is something that we would go for, you're gonna have to pull your community, I think that's an important piece. If we're trying to be one school, one community, then we need to bring the community into that point. We've had districts around us that have done that, and there were not town hall meetings, but town hall meetings. Those happened in Bourbon before they made the switch. So if this is something that we explore and that's the route we're going to go down, I would like us to involve our community.
Yeah, you would have to. Is that helpful?
Oh, it is. Like I said, I'll start gathering information. And again, for me, the goal is to have you a majority of that information in October, and then however we'd like to proceed from there.
The next item is item 11D. We need to approve an amendment to the 21-22 budget. While the auditors have been here, they recommended the best practice for the board to approve budget years to be amended to actual receipts and expenditures incurred. And so there is a document in your board packet that shows that, whatever, that is.
So this was our auditor's recommendation for.
I was in the right place there. Whatever specification, there you go, thank you.
Correct verbiage.
The correct verbiage.
And ordinance. So that's a simple fix.
Perfect. I'll make that motion to approve those amended minutes. Second.
Motion by Jennifer Moreland, seconded by Lisa Elrod, to approve amending the 2021-22 budget to actual receipts and expenditures incurred. All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? 7 yes.
The next item was also brought up by the auditor. There was a numerical error made on our June minutes that they caught on to, and so we have corrected that, the exact dollar amount to make it correct, and I need a motion to approve it.
So moved.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Roger.
Thank you. Motion by Roger Bridgman, seconded by Tiffany Dickens, to approve the amended June 21st, 2022 minutes as presented. All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? 7 yes.
Next item on our agenda this evening is to approve our next regular scheduled board meeting, which is tentatively scheduled for Thursday, October 20th. I'll just unfortunately say that I've got a problem with that date, so I would like to see the day before, the day after, the day before,
Friday.
right.
I'm not doing a Friday. Sorry.
Tuesday or Wednesday maybe of that week, or the following week.
That'd be too late, probably.
I'm good with the
19th, are you guys good with that?
19th?
Tiffany, good with the
Everybody good?
I'll make a motion for the 19th.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Second.
You'll be okay.
Motion by Roger Bridgman, seconded by Jennifer Moreland, that the October board meeting is scheduled on Wednesday, October 19th, 2022 at 6 p.m. with closed session to follow. All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? 7 yes.
Next thing on our agenda is I need a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.